Hey, God bless you, everybody. Not gonna be before you long. I just want to give you um, a quick interpretation for if you see stars in your dream. So, if in your dream or in your waking life, or you feel like somehow like the word star is coming to you, or you see it in a magazine, you look on the TV, then you go to church and they're talking about whatever. If you're seeing stars, I want to tell you what it means. Because there's so much out there, like in the occult, that you could get all twisted and turned around because that's all you see, especially when you start talking about constellations and stars and stuff like that. So automatically you're gonna get all this other stuff that don't have anything to do with the Lord or the Bible or anything like that. So what it means when you see stars is that usually when you see this, God is saying that even though it doesn't look like it right now, even though you might be going through the hard time, even though you don't see any fruit in what God has told you to do, that it is going to be so productive that you're not going to be able to even understand or comprehend the implications or the ricochet effects of staying in the plan of God. And so I remember when I saw this, I was, going down for prayer, and I was just like, God, I don't know. You want me to do this? I really don't see. It was such a hard situation. I was like, God, you want me to do this? I really don't see how this is going to benefit me. Everything out there is saying, excuse me, everything out there and everything in me is saying, just, don't do this anymore because it's too painful. It hurts. It's a lot of stress, and everything within me just want to quit. And I remember going down in prayer and seeing literally what you guys are seeing on the screen. And I was like, I didn't even recognize what it was. And then it just dawned on me that it was the stars. And it's funny, the reason why it didn't dawn on me, because when, in our lifetime, when we look up in the sky, we don't see it like that. We don't see all this because of pollution. All we see is maybe, 10 stars if we lucky. We don't see all this. But, back in biblical days when they used to look up, they didn't have no pollution like we do. So they saw everything. They saw all these stars. And science has proven that you can't count the stars. You just can't, because it looks like that. And even the stars you can't see, so it's innumerable. You can't count them. And the Bible had been said that. But now science is just finally, proven, backing that up. So if you're seeing this, God is saying that, to stick with the plan, that even though it seems hard, you don't see any fruit from it, it's going to give you a blessing, just like the blessing of Abraham. And if you recall with Abraham, he had all these he didn't have any kids at the time that God has told him that his his seed was going to be like the stars of the sky. And so he didn't have any kids at the time God was telling him. And God had told him, to leave your land and go to a place that I haven't shown you yet and just go. So that's why he's called the father of faith. And so for this reason, and because he obeyed God and did what God told him to do, he had, y'all know the story, he has all these kids. He had one kid or two, but we're going to focus on the one, the promise. He had that one, and then that one had another, and then that other one had the 12, and then they just began to multiply. And so God is saying the same thing for you. Not that you're going to have all these kids, it might be literal, but that you're going to have all these kids in the spirit, meaning that maybe you don't know, by staying in what God has told you to do. You don't know that maybe you win one soul, two souls, three souls for the Lord. But those three then go on and become a warrior for the kingdom. And those three have, may say, five spiritual children. And then those five begin to minister to others and then have each of them have 10, So now you got 50. And then now these 50 they start ministering, and now it's like 500. And then those five, it's just ricochet effect. And you won't know how much you touch people and how much you've done for the kingdom of God until, everything gets settled, until, Jesus come back. And then you're going to look and you're going to say, oh my gosh, all those are mine. You know what I mean? All those are going to be, because I stood and I stayed where God told me to. But the other thing about the stars is that faith is that Abraham, he was a very rich man. So because he did what God told him to do, he was a very prosperous and rich man. So that's the other part of it, is that it's just not limited to winning souls. And I think that's the biggest part of it, though. But also what comes along with it, with being a progenitor, meaning someone who has many kids, or the father of something, being that what comes along with that is also, if you're going to have all these kids, what comes along with that is the finances. And so God is saying, just stick and stay what I've told you to do, and you're going to be prosperous in many different ways. But the main thing is that, we winning souls for Jesus. So it may not look like you have much fruit, meaning many children in the spirit. But God is saying that if you stick and stay where I've planted you and what I told you to do, no matter how hard it is, that it's going to pay off. And you may not be able to see it all in its totality in your lifetime. Just like Abraham didn't get to see all them kids that was, born after him. But if you stick and you stay, then it's going to be even outside of your lifetime that this blessing is going to be poured out. And so God just saying, if you just stay where I've told you to stay. So I hope that made sense. All right. God bless you. I love you. And take care until we meet again.